Hello and welcome. I'm Becky with Malvern Books, and we're thrilled to be hosting this event celebrating the publication of Maria Wells' new poetry collection, Images in the Clouds, Reading from the Sky, from Plainview Press. Now, we're so happy to have everyone with us from all over the world. It's really exciting of what an international reading we have. And so I'd like to introduce Pam Knight, who is the publisher of Plainview Press, to be our host for the event. Pam?
Hello, everyone. So this is a big day for Maria. For those of you who know Maria, you know she's a bundle of energy, and she has taken her academic career and put it into a book of poetry. She's transformed from academia to being a poet in this book. So for those of you who know Maria, and you also know the song Sound of Music, and the song how do you solve a problem like Maria? It kind of fits. And, you know, she'll out pester any pest. She'll drive a hornet from its nest. She could throw a whirling dervish out of its whirl. And then how do you solve a problem like Maria? How do you catch a cloud and pin it down? How do you hold a moonbeam in your hand? So all of those things are true about Maria. And so now we're going to let Maria speak for herself. Are you ready, Maria? Okay, you need to turn your audio on.
Did I get it?
That's it.
Okay, do I click on this one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I know I am really grateful to a lot of people, my family, my friend, my poet friend. They have encouraged me, supported me. They have been wonderful. And of course, Becky and all the Malvern people for arranging this wonderful meeting. We turn out into international meeting. That's fantastic. I really appreciate your work to do this. But most of all, I have to thank my wonderful publisher, Pam Knight. We wouldn't be here without you, Pam. I gave you poems and picture, but you made the book. So this is a toast to Pam, wonderful Pam. Patient, oh, so patient with me. Because, you know, sometimes I was asking questions. Oh, sorry, I didn't know that. So this I owe to you, Pam. Thank you very much. And here is toast to you, and then all of you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Now, this is the way we have decided to do it. I will read 4 poems. Then I will give you time to make comments and ask me questions. And then I will give you pause. And then after that, I will read 2 more poems. The 2 last poems are kind of short, but they are intense. And then you can still ask more questions and comment. So I will start with one of my favorites. It is the last one in the book, The Whirling Devices. It was not a stage. It was not a public performance. We had entered a temple, the world of the Sufi sacred dance, mysterious music, grateful movement, to watch in silence and experience the beauty of this dance. We were entranced, elevated into a higher sphere, something beyond our worldly experience. Like the spirit of a sacred lantern lifting itself into space, I felt my soul leaving my body, following the dance. And I whirled with the dervishes. The music, so soft and yet so compelling, I could not stop. I felt transported, soothed, blessed. And when at the end my soul returned to me, when the music stopped and the white figure, the light gown no longer in motion, a silence returned to the place, an immense peace. And I carried it away with me, restored and whole, as if I had for a moment inhabited the sacred space of the Sufi. And when we left, we silently returned to our own world, trading lightly, more conscious of the sublime. Okay, now I'll go to the next one. It's called The Cliffs. This is a wonderful promenade by the sea in my hometown of Trieste. All along the road, from the lighthouse to the castle, the cliffs form a barrier between the sea and the houses. Attached to the side of the hill, terrace garden and vineyard, a profusion of colors and fragrances. All is calm in the summer. Naked bodies dot the cliffs like flowers in a meadow. A joyful murmur of voices and song. But the winter comes with a strong wind sweeping down from the mountains above, screaming down the chimney, hitting the windows with rain and hail. We dare to walk along the cliffs, challenging the force of the wind, splashed by the water reaching our young bodies. We lick our lips and taste the salty water. We scream with the wind, we laugh. It is a joy, fury, and defiance. We are like ships in a storm at sea. We are like the seagull flying over the waves. And we are happy, wonderfully happy. Now, my mountain flower, the Edelweiss. In the highest mountain meadow, on the sheer rocks above the graceful colors of the rhododendron and the gentian, she challenges the climber to reach her, where eagles fly and reign supreme, and welcome only a few. Her petals are soft and velvety, her beauty supreme. To reach the grey peaks, touching the bluest sky, to breathe the thinnest air, to add the edelweiss to our mountain bouquet. It is the greatest joy of a daring climber. The village. They came from the north to the fertile valley, to a country yet unnamed, the Romans and the barbarian, Visigoth, Ostrogoth, emperors and kings, each left a mark on the land, like footprints on the sand. They brought language and culture, and to this day, a language is still spoken in the northern region of the peninsula, the Latin, a reminder of the Latin identity of the First Empire. Since 1919, this part of the country has a name, Italy, but the influences remain. Germanic name, a medieval castle or two, hidden in a forest full of mystery and legend. Churches and vineyards, high pasture on the Alp, at the foot of the mountain, small houses, and the church in the center of the square, when on Sunday the band plays, old song of war, a mountain conquered. Memories of childhood, or walked in the forest, or high up in the mountain's meadow, or a climb in the grey wall of the Dolomite, silver in the moonlight, rose color in the sunset. A memory of bells at noon, sounding joyfully from the churches in the villages, a call to a family meal, children running down the hill to reach home, fragrance of baked bread and fresh milk. The farmers in the field put down the scythe and shovel and sit down for the simple meal of bread and bacon, then a drink at a cool spring. Warm summer, full of games and songs and poems. There was always a moment for poetry. So these are my 4 poems. Now, if you like to comment, ask me a question, we can do that before I go on to the other.
I have a question.
Yes?
The village, is that about a specific place? Or
Yeah,
is it...
exactly. It is near San Vigilio di Marebbe, where I took you to. That's the place.
Okay.
I did a drawing, sitting there, and I have, this is a watercolor, and I have another one that is oil, but a watercolor produces better. That is very, very close by where we went, Cynthia. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. I can see it now.
You can see that. Yes.
I can see it. Yes.
Right. And you know, we went there every summer. We spent 3 months up in the mountain, climbing, hiking.
With your mother and father.
With my father mainly. Yes. And he was always carrying the book of poetry with him, the one that I gave to Sandra, by the way. So we would climb a tree and we sit down on the highest branch, and he would open the book and start reading poems.
The two of you would climb a tree together, and he would read poetry in the tree.
Who?
The two of you would climb the tree together.
Of course. Very, very high.
Fantastic.
You know, on the highest, for some reason, they were big, huge, thick tree. And so on the highest branch, they were so thick, we could just sit down and read our poetry. That's
wonderful. That's wonderful.
Well, the first, there is a poem in the book that is kind of dedicated to my father. It is How I Fell in Love with Poetry. And you will read that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. This is Luce from Texas. And I wanted to say, I particularly appreciated the Whirling Derviches poem. Having done Sufi dancing and so forth, you really captured the feeling and the spirituality that you felt afterwards. Thought it was quite beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. And it was a very special thing because I was on this tour in Turkey, and this was not in the program. Our director, I don't know how he managed that, but he said, I'm going to give you something special. And we drove in the middle of the desert, and he said, you know, this is the Caravanserai, which was a place, hotel and restaurant, where the people of the silk trade, the silk caravan, they stop. And then there is this temple on the side. So he told us, we go in here, this is not a performer. You're not going to say a word, you turn off your cell phone, you don't say anything. You don't clap, nothing. Sit there quietly. And we were really overwhelmed because we realized somehow he has been able to give us this privilege. It was beautiful. It was very, very special. Yes. In fact, I sent him this poem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maria?
Yes?
I wanted to comment also on the Whirling Dervish poem. Actually, that's how you and I met. Was somehow your poem came to me, and that's where we first introduced each other. But what I thought was excellent about the poem was, besides knowing about Whirling Dervishes, and I think I had mentioned that to you when I had responded to you that first time and built a beautiful friendship, by the way. Yes. I love how this is the last poem in the book. Is that what you said? It's the last poem in the book?
Yes, it is the last, yes.
Because it sets a tone of, and this is just part of your personality, I think. You have all this going on, but at the end, you are mesmerized by the dance of the dervishes, and it caps the ending of your book where you remember it. You have all this passion, you have all this movement, and then the ending of this book, it's like this satisfaction that you feel, this the experience of it. It's not a complacency, it's just a satisfaction is really the best word. And I love how you ended it this way, because it's like, I want to say yes.
Thank you. Thank
what you described is exactly how I feel about your poetry, and it's just it's a very spiritual, I think, poem.
Thank you. As I say, I felt it was a gift. We didn't know we were going to do this. It was a gift. And by the way, I wrote a poem not too long ago when I was going through some of my travel papers. I said, oh my goodness, I remember that. This needs a poem. So that's how I wrote it. Yeah. Okay. Something else?
Maria, Peter, I want to ask, are you a dancer? Because not just that you describe the dance, but the way you read the poems are dancing.
Yes, I am a dancer. I have danced all my life. Formal ball, crazy dancing, belly dancing, everything. And there is a poem in the book, Dancing on the Beach on Naxos. So you will see. Yeah, and since here, you know, what are you dancing, Austin, for goodness sake? Some friend of mine took me to Sixth Street one time. Okay, I don't think I want to do that again. So, well, I just dance at home. I can practice my Greek dancing anywhere, anytime. So, and yes, and when I go back to Naxos, Stella, the owner of this wonderful apartment where I go, when she has all her habitués, all the people who come there all the time, mid-June, she organized a dance. And we have some musicians that are wonderful. So that you will see, you will hear, I mean, you will read in my poem, Dancing on the Beach. That's another way. I dance everywhere. Yes. Shall I go on to the next two?
I think that sounds like a great idea.
Huh?
Yes, I think that would be wonderful.
Okay, right. These two are short, but like somebody told me, they are emotionally loaded. Oh, really? Well, I wonder why, but there you go. That's what an impression of a friend of mine. Let's see. Okay. One is The Train of Life. I was inspired from a line in a French book, a very difficult book called Spirale by Tatiana Versnay. It has give you a sense that everything you do in your life, you have to suffer the consequences. So, The Train of Life. I got on the train at midnight. I headed for the bar. People sitting around talking, each one with a story to tell. I was not sure I got on the right train. I did not know where this train was heading, but it was going fast, too fast. I did not know if I had a choice whether I was a conductor or a simple passenger. I could not stop it. I could not get off, as that would have meant the end of it all, the end of my voyage. I did not want that. I still wanted to give a chance to the train of my life. The other one, High Tide, Low Tide. When I first read this one to my poet friend, I said, I have experienced this both physically and emotionally. Standing at the edge of the water, warm sand caressing my feet, wavelets playing between my toes, high tide, a warm embrace, soothing movement of the sea, all is calm and in harmony with the universe. But the moment passes, low tide, the sea retreats, sucking away the sand from under my feet. I stand alone, unbalanced at the edge of the blue. A sense of abandonment sweeps over me. Now, I'm through with my poem, unless you want to hear something else. But anyway, now let me see what you feel about this.
Well, I can say something if I may. My favorite one is the train, and I often feel that I am on a train, the train of my life. But as you say, I don't want to stop it because that would be the end of my trip.
Exactly.
And it's beautifully succinct and short and almost violent in the feeling of swiftness and the helplessness and the desire for life. It's a very strong poem. I also like the village one because you have a feeling of what it's like, a community to live in a village like that, where the bells ring out noon and everybody in the village, from the children to the farmers, have something that they do at noon. And this is a community cohesiveness that in our urban lives, we almost never experience. And we all long for it and often try to recreate it in minuscule, but that's what a real old village was like. So thank you very much for that poem.
Thank you for noticing that. I still remember myself running down the hill with my little backpack. And one time I dropped it and I started spilling out all these things. And my father was getting very, come on, hurry up, we have to go. Wait a minute, I spilled it, I lost it. I can't lose this. I had this vision of myself. I must have been 7 or 8 maximum, dropping my backpack and spilling everything out. My father getting impatient. But that, that's what we did every summer. It was beautiful. It really was. Thank you.
Maria, this is Elaine. I have a question.
Oh, Elaine!
I don't have my video up. Something's wrong, but can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. On the train of life, I was interested in why you got on at midnight, but I wondered if that is true for all of us. We get about halfway through our lives before we realize how fast the end is coming.
Well, yes, I'm sure that's the case. But in this particular, as I say, I got inspiration from the line in this book. It is the story of this woman who has done something, just not thinking about it. And then she has to suffer the consequences. And one day she was really desperate and she walked into this cafe and she meets a girl and they start talking. And she is telling this girl how awful she feels. She can't take it, but the train, it goes at toute vitesse so fast, but she cannot stop it because what do you think? And the woman told her, no, you cannot stop it because if you stop it, you will lose your life and you don't want to do that. So it was this feeling of we are caught in something, but if we want not to give up life, we have to face it and go on with it. So I think the message was very good. Yes, I agree.
Okay, thank you. That's interesting.
Yes. And you have to read the book, Ellen. You have to read Spiral.
I think I loaned it to you.
No, I bought it.
Okay, then I know I've read it.
But you read it. Okay. Hélène and I always exchange French book. Yes, Philippe. Nous sommes les deux que nous parlons français ensemble. Hello. Okay. What else?
Maria?
Amir, what?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Well, Franco really loves When the Guns Fell Silent.
It's difficult to speak English for me.
Christmas 1940.
I will write you.
It was a long time ago. I think it was very touching. And maybe
and all these poems are wonderful. I am sure many people in the world will like it because it's very true, very sensitive, and it's very natural. And everybody, if he thinks something about, he will understand you. So it's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Oh, Philippe, la journée de Saint-Malo de la Manonnière, je ne pouvais jamais oublier. Oh, oublier. Yes, I had Saint-Malo is a magic place. It's a wonderful place.
Yes, and the cliffs, in your poem, the cliffs, it looks like the wind in Saint-Malo.
Yeah, my gosh. Oh, well.
Yes.
Don't get me started on that, otherwise I would subject everybody to my memories. We can do that. Yes, and okay. I'm waiting.
Thing about getting on the train at midnight. What flashed to me was when my son was born. He popped his head out. And it would have been relatively dark before he popped his head out. And then he stopped. And for about 30 seconds, he just turned his head one side to the other. And then the rest of him came out. And that thing that you said about not knowing, is this a conductor? Is this another passenger? And that reminded me of what would have been my son's experience when he first poked his head into life, into the world.
Maria, this is Lorraine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And I have a question. Could you tell us something about the cover of the book of poems.
Oh, yes.
So fantastic.
The cover did it all. It is a very interesting story, in fact. I got in touch with Pam, not knowing her, because I used to know Susan Bright, the person who founded, who started the Plainview Press years ago. We were always meeting in Barton Spring. We were the group of the three. We were always meeting there. And we were always involved in literary discussion and political discussion. And I remember Susan was very interesting because my husband was a lawyer working with the legislature. So we got into all this political discussion. Pretty soon we forgot we were there to swim. But then he said, so years ago, we had a project together which didn't come through. But fortunately, going through my academic paper, I found a letter from Susan. And I said, oh, well, let's see if this place is still still here. I didn't know. So I wrote an email. I say, I have a project about some poem. Would you be interested? And I get a response from Pam. And she said, yeah, what is it? Let me know. Explain me what it is. So I did. And I sent her, where did it go? I sent her the original sketch of the original sketch, my sketch of Images in the Cloud, okay? And the poem. And her answer was, oh, this would make a beautiful book cover. What? You mean we are on? So I was so surprised. And so we went on from there. And then, of course, she enhanced the color for the cover, which was beautiful. But inside, by the poem Images in the Cloud, she kept my original sketch. And thank you for that. So that is the story. That's how it all happens. It was my lucky day.
Just a wonderful, wonderful cover and title. And the poems are wonderful, but I wanted to bring, because the first thing the reader sees is the cover. They don't see the poems first. So you have to have something that draws you to pick it up and open it. Without that cover or a cover that's the right cover, there is no book.
I know. Well, that's what Pam felt. This is just a beautiful cover. And the way that I wrote the poem, I was lying by a swimming pool at Stella on Naxos. I was lying down there and I was looking at this and I said, oh, look at all these images in the cloud. Oh, fantastic. So I started writing the poem right there by the swimming pool. And then I said, oh, this called for a little sketch. And so I did the sketch right there. So, of course, now when I go back to Naxos, of course, I'm going to give a poem, a book with a dedication to Stella, because I said, yes, this poem was born here by your pool. Yeah, that's the way it happened.
Lovely, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, in doing this book, it kind of was a discovery that Maria was an artist as well as a poet, because she didn't really present her artwork or her photos. It's something I came across kind of by accident when she started showing pictures of her family and the places she had been. And I said, Maria, these are good. Why don't we put some of these in the book? So at that point, it became a combination of her poetry and some of her artwork, and it turned into a color book at that point.
That was wonderful to put that in the book. I really appreciate that. And it makes sense. That too was a part of my life. When you actually read the book, a friend already asked me this about the poem Pergamum, which is in Western Turkey, where I went to visit an archaeological site. And I did the drawing of this acanthus leaf that you will see in the book. And everybody say, well, how this is architecture? Well, yes, the thing is that I went to high school for 5 years, which was a high school that was a scientific high school. We had 2 languages, mathematics and physics and everything, and the history of architecture for 5 years. And I did all of this drawing. And that was a wonderful experience. And so I brought back almost all my album, not all of them. In fact, with some of the drawing, the acanthus leaf and some other, I had some cards made. Now I've used them up. And Anita will do some more. because that was really a nice way to preserve them. But that's why it happened that I did architectural drawing. And everything else, sketches and oil and watercolor, I did that off and on quite often, but not so much this last couple of years. I was a little bit too busy. But anyway, that's how we started, the architectural. So again, when I was showing this drawing to a friend of mine, professor of architecture, and he looked at it and say, "You did that in high school?" I said, yes, I did, 5 years. That was great. That was really, that's the other thing that I want to tell you, might as well, as speaking about being grateful. I remember one time I was giving a lecture at a university in Trieste. And so this man, oh my goodness, he treated me as the hero, giving fame to my city. He was he went on and on and on. So, okay, now let me tell you something. Everything that I have accomplished, everything that I have done, everything that I am today, it all started here, in my city, with my family, with my professor in this city. So I said, yes, I mean, it is true. I'm grateful to that. It all started here. That's what I told him, and he did. So now I feel a little bit guilty because I haven't gone back very often. But I'm busy. When I have time, I do some extreme things like backpacking in the canyon. You will see in the book the poem about into the canyon, into the Anasazi. I like to do that. Well, when I had little time, if I have a choice, I like to do that as long as I can.
Maria?
Yeah.
Maria, it looks like Gregory might have a question. Gregory, did you have a question?
I do have a question. You mentioned your architectural drawing, and in the images that were so generously shared with us was a acanthus. And I was wondering whether there was a poem about an acanthus, because it is an architectural element in column capitals.
A poem about what did you say?
Acanthus. There was one of the images that was shown on the shared screen.
Yeah.
Was an acanthus leaf.
Yes, that's what it is. Exactly.
Yeah. But it's also an architectural element. It's part of Greek columns.
You see it on the column, you see it everything. In fact, that's what you will read in my poem, Pergamon. It was incredible. I mean, I step off the elevator and all of a sudden I was looking at my own drawing. I said, well, I did that. My goodness. The group leader, the director said, okay, Maria, do you want to take over? I said, no. But I was very excited to see this thing finally, after years sitting in the classroom and drawing them. And finally, I was able to see them. That's why I say in my poem, Pergamon, yes, I come to, yes, sir.
Good to hear.
On the Corinthian column, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, they saw that by accident because it's forwarded one image too far, and so they accidentally saw that image. That's why he asked that question.
What question do you have?
Oh, he asked a question about that image because I accidentally showed it. The question you just answered.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yes. I noticed that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Well, I tell you what I'll do. I will have some more cards made with this architectural drawing so I can give them to you, send them to you. Yes, I will. Well, also, even the picture of the village, I had made a card, but I used them up pretty quickly. I have to make some more. Yeah. Yes. It's so wonderful to see you all. It's wonderful. It makes my day. Now I think I'll go dancing on the beach. No, I can't dance on the beach. I dance on the street.
We might mention how they might buy the book. It's either on Amazon, you can buy one, or you can contact Malvern Books here in Austin, and they can mail you one, or you can stop by the bookstore and pick it up.
Yeah. And I still haven't.
Say anything, Becky?
And I do have
absolutely right. We do have, so you can definitely come by the bookstore if you're here in Austin or the Austin area and you happen to find yourself in town. We'd love to see you. We will do domestic shipping as well. So if there's other places in the US that you'd like to have it shipped, we're happy to do that. So we have signed copies of Maria's book available in the store, and we're thrilled to have them, and we'd love for you to have a copy because I think it's a beautiful book. And I don't know if everybody realized, Pam mentioned it a bit, but the fact that Maria's artwork and photographs are in the book as well, it really kind of makes a book, it's bigger than just a poetry book because it has a lot of artwork in it too. It's almost kind of a combination art and poetry book together. So it's quite lovely.
Well, thank you all for being here. Love to everybody.
Let me just ask one more question, Maria.
Yes, yes.
Or it could be for Becky or Pam, because you're talking about a bookstore, and where is the bookstore located? What's the name of the bookstore?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought, so we're Malvern Books, and we're hosting this this actual Zoom meeting. Malvern Books is located in Austin, Texas at 613 West 29th Street.
Oh.
And currently we're open from 12 to 5 Tuesdays through Sunday. And we are taking personal shopping appointments, and we're doing curbside pickup. And we have, if people come by the store and, you know, we keep the door locked just because we're trying to keep the number of people down. But if chances are good, if you tug on the door when we're there, you'll be able to come in and take a look around. We focus on fiction and poetry from small independent presses. So that's our focus, and we do a lot of works in translation as well.
Yeah, because the book shows Plainview Press, and I don't see Malvern anywhere in the book.
No, we wouldn't be. We're just a bookstore. We're not a press. So the publisher is Plainview Press, which is Pam is the publisher. But we're the bookstore. And so we handle a number of different presses, obviously, because we handle many different books. But we focus on fiction and poetry. And that's why we're thrilled to have Maria's books with us.
Thank you.
Hey, Maureen, my goodness. This is Maureen, my friend from Bordeaux, and Laurie, and Penny, and Philippe, Peter. Oh my gosh, how is the life in Bordeaux? Can we talk to her? No, I cannot talk to Maureen.
No, I think that if Maureen unmutes herself, sure, she can make a comment to you. That's fine.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's wonderful. Bordeaux, Manchester, Austin. Oh, I have you all. That's great. And you still have not received the book.
I have still not received the book. I don't know what happened.
Okay, I'm going to the mail center tomorrow and see if I can figure it out from here. But anyway, then I'll send you another one. Well, so wonderful to see you all. Oh my goodness. Oh.
That was a lovely evening. Thank you for organizing this, Pam and Becky. And bravo, Maria. Maria.
Now, in June, we are going to have our poetry reading. Oh, yes, because it was interrupted, but nobody could dare for 2 years. But we will. Oh, yes, of course we will. Up on the rocks above Ayana. Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Well, if you happen to come in late to the reading and you would like to, or if you want to share it, we'll be posting this video recording on Malvern Books YouTube channel as well, so that you can either go through us through the Facebook page and find it there, or on Malvern. But if you go to YouTube and just look up Malvern Books, you'll be able to see that as well. Wow. So I think that's about it for today. Unless Maria, is there something else? I think we're
Ella, that's my little daughter. Ella.
I would just like to thank everyone for showing up, and those who are around the world somewhere else in various time zones, perhaps in the middle of the night. Thank you also. Sometimes people show up in pajamas just because of the time of day. But Maria is an international citizen, so I know some of you have gone out of your way to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.